Welcome back to another weekend racing my racing lawnmower. We are here at Blacklands and it's going to be a really tricky weekend. It's supposed to be wet, dry, really technical. I haven't been on the mower in a while racing karts recently, so it's going to be about getting back into the swing of things and seeing what results we can pick up. Stay tuned for this video. Right, good morning. We're here at Blacklands and we're going to go and learn this track. Obviously I stalled. So here at Blacklands, let's figure out this track. It already looks incredibly bumpy and very wet, so it's about getting it rotated on the throttle. A lot of sliding going on. Oh. And last week I was karting, so a very different discipline where the technique is very different. That's going to be about getting back up to speed. Right, on the brakes into turn one, little bump on the apex, turning right 90 degrees, and again, getting it over to the right, on the brakes to turn it in, get the rear loose, back on the throttle to continue that, through this little technical chicane, move going on ahead. Let's try and follow him through this hairpin downhill, very slippery on the exit. Try and get my weight on the front. Try and get a run out. Long back straight, and that's a lap. Now we're going to jump straight into this first heat race. Now you can see I've parked it on the side to try and have some grip, to try and have some fresh grass underneath our tyres, and as we get going we get a fair bit of wheel spin. We do manage to stay even with Algridis, who's on the inside. We also have Sean and Stu behind us, 4 of us in these heats for today, and then James joins us a little bit later. So turning into this left, a really tricky section, and with everyone behind me I'm just focusing on not making a mistake and keeping it narrow, making sure no one can get up the inside. So I get on the brakes into this top corner, and actually a few of them run very, very deep. Stu tries it all the way around the outside, actually going deep on the brakes, allowing him to gain time on the way in and then get great drive on that fresh grass on the outside where there's still some grip. You can see just how muddy and wet it is here. It was a load of fun. These conditions are always so much fun. Sean tries it around the outside, doesn't quite manage to get a run on, but you can see he's definitely showing some pace using those alternative lines. As we come through this section, I know into this top corner is going to be a really good opportunity. I cover the inside, but Sean does just manage to swing it all the way around the outside. An incredible move, really solid move. So I try and slot in straight behind him. We've still got 2 mowers behind us in this race, so we're going to see what we can do, and in these tricky conditions anything can happen, so I'm just trying to hold on to it. And Stu actually tries the same thing, going really deep on the brakes and finding the grip on the outside. I didn't know that line was possible until he just did it then, so that was really good. So a really great overtake from Stu. He does slip a little bit wide there, and then getting back on the throttle, but he does manage to carry more speed overall. So yeah, both of these riders in front, Sean and Stu, are very experienced and have a fair bit more pace than us. So over the next, over the winter and into the next season, we're going to try and hope to gain some time on them, both in our driving and in the mowers' performance. But yeah, they are a long way up the road from me, so trying to learn from that. But Algridis is still behind us, and so we're just trying to keep hold of it. And actually, as we look ahead, Stu goes into that corner with a load of speed, and actually it does kick him up there. You wouldn't expect that in these really slippery conditions, but it caught him out there, and so we do manage to get a run. But he's got a really good overspeed, and he has a look up the inside, but there wasn't the space there, so he bails that and slots in behind us. And as we come down this back straight, I'm sure he's going to have a really good run into this top corner, so I slightly cover it off, running around the middle of the road you can see here to try and make sure he can't get out the inside. So he's all over the back of us. Now, going into this bottom corner, I didn't want to try a new line and try Stu's line to defend against him, because I didn't know what grip it was going to give. So he does just try that deeper line again. There's nothing I can do to stop it. And he gets a really good run, loads of grip on the outside there, and that gives him the inside for the next corner. So a really great move, and actually we get caught up there, giving him a slight bump. I received a few of those throughout this weekend, and so that was one of the ones I dished back out. Sorry about that, Stu, but yeah, really close racing, and that's what comes with it. We all know that's what happens. So yeah, as we come through this section, I actually had a really good lead on the guys behind us. I'm just getting some of the mud off my goggles. But here, We have one lap shown slightly too late, and I didn't actually see it here. Now, this kind of caught me off guard. I thought we had a few more laps, and so when Algridis tries it around the outside, I'm thinking, okay, I do have time to try and pick a move back. So I could have thought about throwing it up the inside here, trying to force a move, but I try and swing around the outside to try and make sure we get a good run out of this bottom corner here. I'm really trying to focus on getting a good exit so we can run all the way up this through this complex. And actually, that was the final lap. Now, stupidly, I got slightly annoyed about not receiving a one-lap board. And so you'll see that there was some humorous retaliation in this next race. So race 2, as we get into this second heat, again, Algridis got a great launch there, and he's definitely got the measure of me at the start of this weekend. And all of this is going to try and be to pull that pace back and try and get on the back of him. So what can we do through this race? He's managed to get a decent lead into this top corner. You can see the other guys are lagging a little bit far behind. They started a little way back on the grid. And so, yeah, following Algridis through there, trying to get a better run out of the corner. Often when you're in front, you're trying to push it on the way in, and that can leave you exposed on the way out. So I know that. I'm trying to focus it off, making sure I'm squaring up the mower on the way out and getting a good run. And we do have a look here, and we are going to try it up the inside, but actually Algridis has the grip on the way out and does manage to just turn in ahead. He gets a little bump, so he slips a little bit wide. I managed to pull alongside, but that's not going to be enough going into this left-hander, so he does keep hold of the position, very controlled on the way into that corner there, and actually gets a really good run out. You can see it's super bumpy through that corner, so picking your line is really important. And again, Stu tries his trademark move. This time I don't think it quite comes off, because he's kind of lost some time on the way in, wasn't able to gain it all back on the way out. But yeah, you can see definitely trying moves to see what to do around the outside. Sean is also following in behind, so we're going to try and not lose 2 positions here. I'm really focusing on trying to get on the back of Algridis so that when the 2 fast guys come through, they compromise both of us rather than just me. So getting a run down this back straight, just trying to gain some time there. But I was finding that I was a little bit low in the revs and not having amazing power. And then through that section, I do get a little bit crossed up and hit a bump. And that does allow both Sean and Stu to run around the outside. You can see they're having incredibly close racing. Rubbing is racing definitely here, and as they come through this section, Sean does just get up on 2 wheels, number 18 there, and they collide. And so who's going to come out of this? You can see, look, incredible racing, still side by side, and Stu does come out of that on top. And actually I managed to grab the position there because Sean was so compromised on the exit there. So some really good racing there. And I know I mentioned that I was waving my hands around and getting annoyed that there wasn't a 1 lap board previously, which is my own stupid fault. But here, these guys are going to make sure I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people telling me there's 1 lap left. So yeah, fair enough. I was laughing in my helmet as I came through there. So we're just trying to settle into this final lap, and actually Sean has managed to catch us up here, and he's going to try it down the inside. I leave him the space, but I do manage to get the run on the way out. But actually, because he's on the inside, he's got so much more grip on that unused track. He's managed to get in. He squeezes me to the inside. I do manage to get back in front again. I'm going to see what he can do, but I have to leave that space because he's got his nose in. I had to leave him that space up the inside, and he does manage to get past us and run on the way out through this second race. So yeah, not a brilliant race for me there. And actually, as we skip ahead, I did come off the racetrack here and immediately go and make a change. Now, because it was starting to grip up here, I did go up on my tyre pressures. That's something that's really important on these lawn bugs, balancing the grip with how much tyre pressure you've got in the tyres. The higher the pressure, the less grip you have, and so often you have better rotation. So I make a slight change here and see what we can do there. So we're going to jump into this third race, and actually this is a championship race, so a longer race that matters not for the weekend but for the overall championship. And so I am ahead, currently in 4th, with Algridis in 5th, and so with him starting in front of me in this race, I know I've got to try and get by him to keep the points in check. I'm not sure how many points there were between us, but I definitely want to make sure I finish in front of him. So we run a little bit deep into that hairpin there. That one can be super tricky because it's downhill and very, very slippery. Getting it right is tough. But actually, Algridis makes a slight mistake. We managed to pull up alongside, but he has still got the inside. Now, as I check up behind Algridis, Sean takes the opportunity to swing all the way around the outside. These two are battling really close in front, but Sean's got the inside. Algridis has managed to get a run around the outside, but he had to get out throttle to avoid hitting Sean again. So Sean's got through a really great move at the start of these kind of long races. Stu tries it all the way around the outside. I did think I had it covered here, but he managed to just get a really good run and stick it straight up the inside of Alguridis. Really, really good move, but actually gets caught up there trying to avoid him, but then manages to slip through there. So yeah, really good racing from both Sean and Stu there. So Alguridis makes a slight mistake. So I managed to run it around the outside into this bottom hairpin and take the position. So I was really happy with this in my helmet at the time. But actually kind of was caught napping here. I made a slight mistake, caught an edge, ran a little bit deep, and Alguridis has got a really, really good run here. And on that outside line, Sean has shown us that has really, really good grip. So he managed to pull up alongside and then actually cut me back and take back the position. So that was a little bit tough here. But actually what was more surprising here is that Alguridis just managed to drive away from me. Now, he was definitely on form this time, but the difference in pace was far, far higher than usual. I could also feel as I was going around the track that there was a slight wobble. I felt something wrong at the rear, and actually Sean manages to lap us by the end of that race. And so I pull in again with more issues.
Oh, this thing sucks. So bad.
So just coming from the championship race, wondering why nothing was working. I was really slow. I found the problem. So I just pulled the wheel off, and the tyre here had been rubbing up against there, and that is burning hot now because this was loose. So I only checked it and tightened it up the other day, but I don't know why that's shaking loose, and that must have been why I heard a clanging noise and I just had no speed, and it must have been because of rubbing up against there. So I actually don't know if this tyre is still okay. It's pretty ruined, but we'll see if it stays up. So with a few changes made at lunchtime, we line up for our next race, and actually here I have an issue on the start line. My clutch starts to bind. I can't stop the mower going because my clutch was binding underneath. So actually I jumped the start, so I had to make sure I let James back through, who was currently on pole. So I let him back through. All of the order is restored in this race, so we can crack on with it. I'm not sure what that clutch issue was. We managed to fix it later on in the day, but I'm not actually sure what the problem was. But anyway, we crack on with this race because I had to let James go. He's really gone. Now, he has handlebars on his lawn bug, and so actually he takes a few very different lines and has a very different riding style. He can get his weight far over the front, so actually through some of these looser surfaces he can be really, really fast, but sometimes, well, that comes with the downside of it being really very tiring to ride one of these things. So that is why we run steering wheels on our bugs, because we can run the longer races and the endurance races, for example. And so you can see here that he takes very, very different lines, swinging in from the outside and then getting a much wider line on the way out. And so we're going to try and find our way around here, and actually him taking different lines can allow you sometimes to have some space, so you can take your optimal line while he's taking his and actually get a really good run. So yeah, still in second in this race, following James through here. And we're running on this new grass section to avoid a massive bump we had there before. It didn't last long like that. But anyway, he gets a little bit sideways on the way out. So we're going to tuck in down the back straight. Stu's trying to get around the inside. And because he runs that different line, we stick it down the inside. Managed to get an incredible run past James. And we're up into the lead, but actually not for long. Stu runs it all the way around the outside. Closes me up on the exit, sorry. Gets a little bit sideways, but I can't turn him because he's still there. Although I managed to get a little bit of a better run out, he's still got the inside, so he gets that much, much better line. And now it's gripped up. That outside line doesn't work as well. Now the ground has dried up slightly. So again, a small mistake from Stu there, but he manages to do enough to hold on to it. So yeah, still tucked into this race, trying to not to lose any more positions after that start, as Stu is disappearing down the road. And I do hit a bump there awkwardly, and that allows Sean past as well. So we're still in third in this race. Alguridis is still behind us. Again, he's won every race we've come up against each other here, so I was really happy to grab back a couple of points on him on the weekend overall.
That was way better.
So you might be asking what I changed there. I actually went down in the gearing and went to dry tyres rather than rear aggressive tyres. Now that allows the motor to rotate a little bit better, and the lower gearing gives me more pull through some of these really tacky, horrible conditions. So we might suffer mid-corner with some grip, but everywhere else we should be better on these new tyres. So yeah, really happy with this. Sean does his classic move all the way around the outside. He manages to make lines work that I've never even tried and definitely couldn't make work. So Yeah, Sean comes past us, number 18 there. Algridis is on the inside. Sean's going to go all the way around the outside. And actually here I get caught up behind Algridis. I probably should have followed the outside line there to see if I could get a move done. And actually Stu's going to try it around the outside as well, still running aggressive rear tyres because it was working for him. And so through that section he definitely had more grip than us and managed to get a good run out. And so we're going to slot in behind him. Now here at this stage I'm hoping he will slow Algridis up, but actually he makes a slight mistake, so we get up the inside, but he's going to try all the way around the outside again here, and because the outside becomes the inside, he's got that move done. It's also slightly smoother line as well. So yeah, jumping a lap ahead. Now we've got Stu battling with Algridis. Now I'm hoping this will cost Algridis some time here so I can catch back up to the pack. Again, still not on my usual pace. I was a little bit disappointed this weekend with my pace in this track. Often I like wet, tricky conditions, but actually this track was, bumpy, tacky. It was tough to ride, definitely really, really tough to ride. Anyone else who was there here for this weekend will say the same, I imagine. So yeah, Algridis has managed to overtake James. He gets a little bit wide on the outside, so I know I'm having to make this move early. James was having a few issues this weekend with that mower, and so I knew he wasn't really in the points after missing a couple, so I thought I had to get this done. And so we're going to try up the inside here again, and I do just let the mower wander over to the outside so he can't use that outside line to get all the way by. Him running that outside line really does give you the opportunity to stick up the inside there, so I definitely took it. Algridis runs a little bit awkwardly through that section, but actually that was where the recording ended, so sorry about that. Next race, let's get straight into the next one. Algridis up the inside into the lead. We've got James on the outside, and he does just get caught up in that really tacky mud on the outside of the racetrack and actually pulls over and stops racing. So I'm not sure what the issue was there. So we're up into second. We've got Algridis in our sights, seeing if we can make a difference in this weekend's points, because I was losing a lot to him. Sean comes around the outside. That was slightly expected. Algridis gets very sideways. And so we do get caught up a little bit here. So we're in a three-way battle, very, very close. Stu is all over the back of us as well. So I'm sure he's going to try and move soon. Algridis runs a little bit wide, so I'm going to try and get a run out of this corner. And actually, it's hard to do that because of those bumps on the exit. No matter how well you line that corner up, it's really, really hard to get a run. So as we come through this section, Stu's going to try his classic move all the way around the outside. I don't know how he made it work so well, but he definitely did, and that gives him the inside for this one. I try and go a little bit deeper, but actually I get caught up behind Algridis, and Stu has got it done. I try the outside here after Algridis' line is slightly compromised, and I'm going to try and cut back up the inside, but there just isn't quite the grip there. That is the downside you get of running these dry tyres. I try another cut back here, but Algridis has got it covered off. He actually skips the corner, runs a little bit deep, and I do manage to get up the inside, finally get a move done. But here, because of these dry tyres, he gets it run all the way around the outside and still manages to hold on to the position. So in my head, I'm thinking, what more do I have to do to get this done? But actually he slips a little bit wide. We've been gifted this. I've got to move up the inside. I've still got the high ground, and I do manage to get the move done. So after getting a bad run out of that final corner, we get the good side of it down that back straight and managed to get the move done. So it was a case of just defending, making sure he couldn't find any way by. And as we skip ahead, we're going to come across the line to bag a third position there. So a few really good points back in the bag.
That was better.
Now, because Sunday was actually rained off, this was our last race of the weekend, race 7, and it was a good one, let me tell you that. So we're going to go try up the inside there of Algridis, because he has got it covered off. So in this race, we have a really good back and forth battle, and so he makes a slight mistake there, and through this first lap, we are very, very close, side by side, through that corner. Some really, really good fair racing. It was a lot of fun on Saturday. Once I managed to get the gearing and the tyres working, this was really, really good fun. So as we come into this top corner, Algridis doesn't get a great run out, gets a little bit sideways, so I'm going to try around the outside here, but actually he hits a bump which runs him off track, and actually I get put all the way on the grass there. You can see his front wheels were in the air. There wasn't much he could do there. If I'm around the outside and Algridis makes a mistake, we're both going straight on. I don't know why I'm waving my hands in the air, but in the moment, often in your helmet, you think things are worse than they are. So that was definitely the case here. So as we run through there, I make another mistake because I'm getting all angry inside my helmet. And so actually that costs us time. So Now, Gridis manages to pull ahead, but actually we start to reel him back in here as the race comes to its close. And actually through this section, Gridis is going to make a slight mistake. He runs a little bit wide here, and so this time, rather than trying it out around the outside, I'm going to try up the inside, and we have just enough space. A robust move, a little bit of contact there, and we do manage to get it up the inside. And I'm going to show you that again to let you guys decide on what you think. It was definitely robust, but I think this move was fair. There was space to drive into. But let me know what you think in the comments there. I'm happy to be proven wrong if you guys think the other way. But we managed to get that move done, and that was the points back. And actually, we beat out Gridis by just a couple of points for this weekend. So really, really fun weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.